What is up, guys? Airship Syndicate recently released a new Darksiders Genesis teaser trailer. Starts off with a crisp render of the horseman Strife, wearing some wicked-ass Motley Crue boots, entering a dungeon with a three-headed demon. I honestly expected this demon to have some sort of Boston accent like Mark Wahlberg style, but I guess not. Just chilling with his posse. Seems like a boss room. Alright, they go back and forth, and Strife kind of tells him he's not alone, pulling out mercy and redemption. So in Darksiders 3, he was voiced by Phil Lamar. I am not too sure if it's the same voice actor this time around. So also those two pistols, they should be a little bit familiar to you if you played Darksiders 1 and 2, because we get to use those as your projectile weapons in those games. And it's just great to see Strife standing there in all his glory with his signature weapons. Alright, then it cuts to quick clips of gameplay showing us different aspects of the game that we can expect. The most notable difference is the top-down camera angle as opposed to the original over-the-shoulder third-person view. But don't be deterred by the top-down camera angle, because it looks like it still injects the classic Darksiders hack and slash and world-traversing mechanics that the series is known for. You can see Strife climbing pillars and swinging from a chain like Death's Grab or War's Chain. You can also see War use a special move, Blade Geyser. Game Informer described Strife's gunplay as a special firing capability, being similar to wielding a fully automatic rifle and a shotgun, switching from a high rate of fire and a low rate of fire, with plenty of ammo drops coming from the enemies. And if you do run dry, Strife is equipped with a standard fire mode and a melee weapon. But there's only so much you can see from a teaser, but luckily for us, E3 is right around the corner. The game developers are hosting a panel on Thursday, June 13th at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time that is only described as Darksiders, Action Adventure Evolved, a discussion about the inception of the Darksiders universe and where it's headed next. This panel will coincide with the E3 2019 unveiling of a brand new Darksiders game that takes the franchise in a fresh direction. This is a panel discussion about the art and business of creating and maintaining an action-adventure franchise rich in game and corporate lore. Alright guys, so that was a direct quote off the E3 Coliseum website for the Darksiders panel. Now, to be quite honest, I'm not really quite clear on what that exactly means, and I've also looked up a couple other articles and they're not too sure either. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of insight on what I think it means and definitely give you some thoughts on the game. So first things first, let's talk about Darksiders Genesis, the game, just kind of some thoughts on what I think about it. So I'm not surprised that they're taking this route and they're not making a complete Darksiders 4. But I'm down with this top-over camera angle and this little dungeon crawler type thing they got going on. Now, Darksiders Genesis is a spin-off game. It's a prequel in the story. It's made by Airship Syndicate. Now, Darksiders 1 and 2 were made by Vigil Games. They were under THQ as the publisher. And THQ went into bankruptcy about 2012, 2013. The Darksiders IP was bought by Nordic Games. Vigil split because nobody really bought them, and the guys who formed Vigil, Joe Mad, David Adams, Ryan Stefanelli, there's one more in there, they had to split up. So David Adams went to form Gunfire Games, and Joe Mad and Ryan Stefanelli went on to form Airship Syndicate, smaller studios. THQ Nordic still published Darksiders, so because they still had the Darksiders IP. Gunfire Games, they did a few VR stuff, and then they went on with Darksiders 3 under David Adams. Turning the gears over to Airship Syndicate, honestly, is just like, I think that's just like a buddy move, you know. It's still, Darksiders has always stayed with its original creators, and considering all the industry financial bullshit that it goes through, you know, I do remember specifically when I heard about THQ going bankrupt that I told myself, and I felt really sad that, like, oh man, Darksiders series, like, it's gone. Darksiders 1 and 2, that's it. I love those series. But going on to Airship Syndicate, they made a game that was released in 2017 called Battle Chasers, and now it's a turn-based turn-based RPG. I'm not specifically a fan of turn-based RPGs, besides Pokemon, I guess. But because of Joe Mad and just like their whole studio and what's going on, like I did buy it and I have played it and I enjoy it heavily. The art style, the art direction is very nice, and you can see that is going to be implemented in Darksiders Genesis. I think it's really cool that Airship Syndicate is getting a chance, and not only that, they're a smaller studio that is able to make these top-down camera style dungeon crawler games. I really think that's cool, and I'm just happy for the guys. I'm happy for them that they kind of go full circle, and Joe Mad and the gang are back at Darksiders. And it does look like the gameplay will keep up with the fast-paced hack and slash as it does in 1, 2, and 3. I saw some people saying that it could possibly be a twin stick dungeon crawler type game. I just don't see that happening, to be honest. I'm kind of expecting it to be more like Diablo, you know, where you just got a bunch of kind of different abilities and you're managing bars and mana and magic and life and all that kind of stuff, items and stuff. Will there be loot? I'm not sure. I hope there is. I find that kind of interesting. Will there be a horse? Will it be couch co-op? I hope it is. Let's talk a little bit about Strife. A little side note, when Joe Mad first created Strife, his inspiration was off of the anime Guyver. And if you haven't seen Guyver, I highly recommend it. I think fans have wanted to see more of Strife ever since that quick sketch of all 4 horsemen have came out during 1's release. I remember back then trying to find all 4 horsemen and what they looked like when 1 was out, and you could see Strife kind of in the back, and you're like, what is that? What is he wearing? So it's cool to finally see him rendered full CG, playable character, move sets, weapons, special abilities. It's great to actually have Strife in a spin-off, but I wouldn't count him out as just like it's a one and done spin-off for Strife. I expect Strife to get kind of like don't think Strife's getting the Hawkeye treatment, you know. I believe Strife will be a way bigger role in future Darksiders stuff. So pretty much my thoughts on the game are hell yeah, more Darksiders. Okay, let's go back to that latter half of the E3 quote where it says the panel discussion is about the art and business of creating and maintaining an action-adventure franchise rich in-game and corporate lore. So let's just, maybe what we could expect at E3 is them to discuss about the future of the Darksiders franchise, obviously a little bit more about the game, but maintaining an action-adventure franchise with in-game lore and corporate lore. Is that meaning that they're going to stay open with how they're creating this game? And if you can tell, Darksiders, they have a lot of documentaries on how they make their games. Battle Chasers has a documentary on how they made that game. And maybe is that what they mean by corporate lore and just the journey of the individuals who make these games and what they go through, and the process is not only creative but also financial, and how the inner workings of the game industry actually works. And I really believe that if that is the case, THQ Nordic can do that. I'm going to leave a link down in the description below of a very good article describing THQ Nordic's adventure to not only owning Darksiders, but having their fingers in fucking everything. I feel like THQ Nordic has the ability to bankroll Darksiders into the far future. I do believe that Darksiders is what I like to call a Marvel idea, where it's not too kiddie for the adults, but you know, it's still clean enough for the kids. Darksiders isn't so far horror, as Joe Mad has stated himself, that Darksiders doesn't go too far into horror and darkness. It's just, you know, it's right in between, and it's good and it's fresh. I could see the Darksiders franchise going on and being more top over camera angle games. I can also see Darksiders 4 being a big budget multiplayer, picking your own Nephilim before the war or during the war. Even an MMO kind of style, World of Warcraft style. I can see Darksiders going in that direction, to be quite honest. I could be just fanboying right now and super excited, but either way, I don't care. But I hope that's what they discuss, and I mean, regardless of what's going on, I'm going to be there at the Darksiders panel at E3. Not there physically, but I'll definitely be watching from my from my monitor here. But all right, guys, that's pretty much my thoughts on what's going on with Darksiders Genesis. Whenever E3 panel hits, if they got more info and more interesting stuff, I'll let you guys know. Game Informer's got a good article and gives you a little bit of the inside of what's going on. They had a hands-on down there at Airship Syndicate in Austin, Texas. So, all right, guys, I'm going to end it there. I'm Machine Gun Mike. Like what you hear, like what you see. Hit subscribe, like, help me out a lot. Thanks, guys. Peace.